Hey guys, I'm Broke Bandit. On my channel, we talk about budget, emergency preparedness, and survival. Today, I want to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, and that is having a bug out bag slash get home bag. If you watch any prepping YouTube videos or if you're in the emergency preparedness space, you will have found plenty of videos on having a bug out bag and having a get home bag. And lots of times they're using very expensive top of the line gear. Top of line gear, it's gotta be the best stuff out there. It's also gotta be the most expensive stuff out there. So the goal of this video is to show you guys how I have taken the concept of both a bug out bag and a get home bag and put them into one bag, one to save money so I don't have to build out two, as well as finding that line between what is the best gear that's going to break the bank versus what is good enough and is going to get the job done. Something that is very important to me is the concept that anybody can be prepared or get into preparedness. I don't care how much income you're getting. I don't care if you're financially struggling. In fact, I think emergency preparedness is more cut out to people who have tight finances rather than people who have a lot of expendable income. So this is about trying to prepare you for emergencies for as cheap as possible. So, for those of you who are new to this topic, what is a bug out bag and what is a get home bag? A bug out bag and a get home bag serve a very similar goal, just in two different situations. A bug out bag is a backpack filled with everything that you would need to survive for 48 to 72 hours in the case that you have to evacuate your home, whether that's a wildfire, an earthquake, a flood, or something way worse. The idea is your home is not safe anymore and you need to get you and your family to a new spot. A get home bag is a very similar situation, but in reverse. So this is how do I get home? So let's say the exact same circumstances happen. Wildfire, earthquake, flood, red dawn, who knows what happens. And you have to get home. Hopefully you can get in your car and go home. But if you use public transit, or as we've seen in thousands of national disasters around the world, highways and roads get plugged up real quick. And what do you do when you're stalled on the road and whatever that wildfire, flood, whatever is still getting towards you and the freeway's backed up, roads are clogged? At some point, you may have to make the decision to get out of your car and walk. So that's what this bag is for. If I have to walk home from my job, which is roughly 30 miles away from my home, this is everything that I would need in order to get home. Now, a lot of these channels that make bug out bags or get home bags, they will make bags specifically for that purpose, either just to bug out or just to get home. If you're tight for cash like I am, then it is my recommendation that you build a bag that can do both and just make sure it stays in your vehicle or make sure it goes to work with you. That way, if you're out and about and you need to get home, it's there. If you're home and you have to leave, it's there. So I just keep mine in the back of my truck, forget it exists, and when I need it, it's there. Another thing I want to talk about before we jump into what's in the bag itself is the fact that everything in this bag to save money and to save weight is geared towards one of four objectives. And those four objectives is 1, defensive tools, the ability to defend my life if I need it from others. 2, sustainment, that's food and water and the ability to procure more, specifically water, like clean water if I need it. 3, survival tools. So these are going to be things related to like camping. How do I stay the night in a place that I don't have a bed? If I have to find an abandoned building on the side of the road, if I have to build a camp in the middle of the woods, it's the stuff I need to roughly get by. And then the last and fourth objective, and this one is very important to me, comfort items. If you in real life actually have to rely on this bag in an emergency situation, you are likely having one of the worst days of your life, and any bit of comfort or moral boost goes a long way. This can be anything from like pictures of your family. I keep a picture of my wife in between my phone and my phone case. My phone's what's recording this right now, so I'm not gonna pull that out. Or things like snacks, blankets, anything that is going to give you just that little moral boost, that will to go forward just a little bit longer. So, all that being said, let's jump into the bag. Starting with my topmost pouch right here, I have 2 packs of Hot Hands. I may have more Hot Hands somewhere in this bag actually, but I have 2 packs of Hot Hands. Both of these, if you pull them out of the wrapper, it has this chemical reaction that reacts to the air, causes it to heat up pretty warm, and will stay heated up for about 10 hours. So I'll pull these out, I'll start that chemical reaction, and then I'll stuff them in my pockets. If it's cold, if it's rainy, whatever, that little bit of warmth goes a long way. Another pro tip, if you are having to sleep out in the wilderness, or you're sleeping somewhere that you're not used to and you have a sleeping bag or a blanket, anything like that, if you take one of these and throw it in the bottom of your sleeping bag, or tuck your blanket in all around you so that the only escape is around your neck, and then you throw this at your feet, it forces that heat to travel up the blanket or the sleeping bag and out around your neck to like ventilate out, and it will keep you warm for most of the night. Big fan of these. Next, this is just a some sort of synthetic wind buff, so it'll just go around my neck. It's a neck gaiter, especially if it's winter or fall in Utah, or nighttime here in the summer. It can get a little bit chilly, so I like to have that. Along that same line of warmth, this is just a fleece cap. Put it on, goes right over the top of my ears, helps me maintain some heat. That is all for this pocket. Going into the next front pocket, we have more Hot Hands. I am a sucker for Hot Hands. I don't like being cold, and so a little bit of extra heat goes a long way. Next, I have a cheap little Walmart headlamp. I think this one has the ability to have red light as well. Red light at night will not destroy your night vision, and so if you turn a white light on and then you turn it off, everything's dark again. Turn a red light on and then you turn it off, you've still maintained your ability to see in the dark. I also have a Ziploc bag with just replacement batteries for that headlamp. As I'm getting into this bag, and that's all for this pocket, I just want to stress, I built this up over 5 years. Don't feel like you need to buy all the best stuff or buy everything at once. Throw $20 into a survival bag here and there, and just try and like build a lifestyle where every day you're a little bit more prepared for disasters than you were the day before. I'm not a big fan of the emergency preparedness style where you feel like the next big disaster is right around the corner and you have to panic buy everything and you're stressed all the time. If you're getting into emergency preparedness, it should be something that makes you feel better about the future, not something that causes you financial stress or emotional stress. So don't stress out too much about it. Build this over time. In fact, after I finished going through this bag, I put together kind of a recreation of what bag I was carrying around as a poor college student to show you that you don't need the best of the best gear. This is not the best of the best gear that I have in here. The gear I had in my college bag when I was a broke college student is way worse than what I have in here. But the stuff I had as a college student still would have gotten me through like a day. And still, starting from there and working up over time, it got me to where I'm at today. This bag in 5 years is probably going to look very different than it looks today. So just cover your bases and upgrade gear over time. Don't financially hurt yourself for this stuff, and just upgrade when and where you can, and you'll be sitting pretty. Okay, hopping into the next pocket. We got a lot of stuff to cover in here. So, first thing I want to point out is I have 2 Glock mags. So these are mags for a Glock 19. That's my concealed carry pistol. And so it's nice to just have a little extra ammo in case the absolute worst does happen and I get in a confrontation with a group of guys who want to take my life or take the stuff that will keep me alive or hurt my family. Not a proponent of violence, and I'm a big fan of, especially in survival situations, avoid conflict where you can and just take care of your family. So if I'm having to use my Glock mags, especially these are reloads for what I normally carry on me in my concealed carry, if I have to dip into this, it is a very bad day. And if I have to dip into this, it is such a bad day that I'm going to be very thankful that I have it with me. Additionally, in this bag, I have an extended magazine. It's an extended Glock mag, but this is actually for my truck gun. So my truck gun is a 9mm pistol caliber carbine that takes Glock mags. Now there's some trade-off using pistol ammo in a rifle platform, but what I appreciate about it for my truck gun is the mags from my handgun and the mags in my rifle will work with each other. So in a worst comes to worst situation, I don't have to worry about running out of one ammo type. Just everything's the same, everything works together. So that's why I made it my choice. Additionally, I live in more of a suburban area where I won't necessarily need the distance that rifle calibers come with. There's still a big trade-off there, but it's a trade-off I chose to make. Additionally, I have a fixed blade knife. This is a Gerber survival knife. In the sheath here, it actually has a flint striker that can take the knife and create sparks with. It is not my primary fire source, but it's a good backup fire source. And if you are going to do anything in the wilderness, anything bushcraft, anything wilderness survival, it is my opinion that a sheath knife is a must. You do not have to get a knife as expensive as this. This didn't break the bank, but it's not the cheapest Walmart knife out there. Okay, next in this bag, I have a pack of glow sticks. This is just a 2-pack of glow sticks. I really like glow sticks for 2 reasons. One, it's a light that doesn't require batteries or electrical charge. And 2, if you are in a situation where you are worried about people seeing you, if you're in a bad part of town and it's nighttime and you're still trying to get home, and you need to get something from your backpack, but you don't want to turn a light on and let anybody bad in the area know that you're there, crack a glow stick, throw it inside of your backpack, and then you can just zip open your backpack, and this glow stick is going to produce enough light that you can look through your backpack and find what you need without exposing you and showing everybody where you are. Next thing I have in here, this is just a travel toothbrush and toothpaste. Hygiene is important, and if I am going to get home and kiss my wife when I get home, I do not want to have stinky breath. I'll probably stink anyways, but anything I can do to mitigate that, I appreciate. Next thing I have in here is these are just CR123 batteries. They're the batteries that both my handgun and my rifle use for the lights I have on them. So just more replacement batteries, good to have. This is a plastic emergency rain poncho if I'm walking through the rain or the snow. Water is going to steal your body heat quicker than anything else, so staying dry is a priority. I also have lots and lots. Is this all? Nope, not yet. Fruit snacks, fruit snacks, fruit snacks, fruit snacks, and sour gummy worms. Just a little comfort item, a little snack, something to give me a little sugar and keep me going. And then, last but not least, in the front of the bag, I have a sanitation kit. So I have a bar of soap that I stole from a hotel at some point. Didn't steal it, complimentary, whatever. I have a bar of deodorant, and then I have a bunch of individually wrapped dude wipes. That way I can use the bathroom or clean my hands if I get my hands dirty before eating, something like that. So, good to have. Now, before I go into the main pocket of this backpack, I want to talk about the bag itself. This is a 511 Rush Pack. I'm pretty sure this is their 24 liter. And honestly, before I push this from a 48-hour bag that can extend to like 72 hours to a 72-hour bag that can maybe go a little longer, I'll probably need to replace the bag itself again, because I don't think I could fit anything more in here if I tried. This is pretty packed full. But this backpack is not the most expensive bag on the market, but if you buy it used, it is going to run you $60, $80. I found this secondhand for $30, and that's why I have this backpack over anything else, is because I found a deal on it. Before I had this backpack, all of this was going around in a $20 Walmart backpack, and there is nothing wrong with that. So the bag that you do have will play some function as far as durability, how well it sits on your back, how comfortable it is to walk long distances in it. But don't stress out about the bag too much. Grab something when you find a deal, but for the most part, worry about what is in the bag keeping you alive more than what you're carrying this stuff around with. So, with that being said, let's get into the main pocket. One thing I do appreciate about this bag is it has pockets in this front flap here, but you're able to lay it down flat and open it like this. That way you don't have to just dig through the top and try and get things out. It's a nice perk. That being said, the bag isn't the most important thing. If you can get a nice bag, that's awesome. If you're carrying stuff around in a Walmart bag, I did that for a very long time. No issue with that. So going into my food, I do have 2 MREs in here. I have the beef patty with pepper jack and the Mexican style chicken stew. Now I picked MREs over other preservable food for my meals for a reason, because you very well can get Mountain House meals or those dried meal bags where you just add hot water to it and it makes a warm meal. Those are awesome. I've had those plenty of times, nothing wrong with that. I chose to grab MREs, which are just a little more expensive than those for a few reasons. One, they have more calories packed into them, which means for less space, they're going to get me further, more calorie dense. And 2, every MRE has its own individual heating unit inside of it. If you haven't used it before, it's basically this bag that you fill with water. It has these metal strips in it that are lined with some chemical. As far as I'm aware, that's how it works. But basically it boils down to, you put water in this bag, you put the pouch of food that you need to warm in the bag, and then you seal the top of the bag, and there's some sort of chemical reaction that heats it up. I really like that these MREs have that, because I have not had to pack any propane, any camping stove, anything like that in here. So it saved me space, and the 2 MREs is cheaper than having to buy and figure out a whole cooking system on top of food to throw in this bag. So that's why I went with the MREs. It's 2 MREs for 2 to 3 days. It's not like I'm going to be full for that period of time, but this is just enough to get me through if it takes me 3 days to get home, or it takes me 3 days to get to a hotel or whatever bug out location me and my wife decide on. Okay, next thing I have in here, this is just a Walmart bag of extra underwear and wool socks. Wool socks are big because they're going to keep you warm even when they get wet. Having replacement socks and underwear, you're going to be moving a lot, you're going to get sweaty, you don't want fungal infections. Nothing is going to make a bad day worse than your feet rotting off or any sort of fungal infection in your underwear area. Bad day. If I do have to sleep, this is the brand is called Tact Frog, and this is a Tac Baby. I believe it's $5 on Amazon. And all this is one of those reflective emergency blankets, but it's a sleeping bag instead of a blanket, so you can roll it out, open the top, hop in it, and it has this reflective material that reflects your body heat back at you, and it gets toasty. The sleeping bag itself, the plastic tactical bivy, it will withstand multiple uses. What I can tell you is that the little compression sack that it comes in broke my second time trying to put the sleeping bag back in it, which is why I just tied it closed with a piece of paracord. That being said, I was less concerned about the pouch it came in and more in the bag's ability to keep me warm. That will keep you pretty warm, but it's not necessarily a heavyweight sleeping bag. And if you have to do anything out in nature, what's going to keep you more warm than the bag itself is making sure that you have padding underneath you. If you take that bag and you're sleeping on the ground is still going to steal all of your body heat. So get up off the ground if you have to use it. If you're in a urban or suburban environment, go find a couch, a counter, just something where you're not sleeping on the ground. It'll keep you a lot more warm than if you used it otherwise. In the back of my main pouch, this is my entire water system. So let's walk through it. I keep 2 liters of water in the back of the bag. You'll see that this water bottle has black tape around it. I'll explain that in a second. Additionally, I have Liquid IV. It's electrolytes and flavoring. Gonna keep the water you're drinking from being boring. It gives you that little morality boost. Plus the electrolytes are gonna help you go further. I have a Katadyn water filter. And this is one of those pump filters. Oh, there we go. So it's going to come with 2 straws, just like this. And 1 straw goes here. This is going to be for your clean water. 1 straw goes here. This is going to be for your dirty water, I believe. Yes. Dirty water here, clean water here. But anyways, you're going to put 1 tube in the dirty water, 1 tube in the clean water, and you are going to be able to pump filter your water. Now, something that needs to be talked about is that if you are in a urban or suburban area, just filtering the water isn't going to be enough. If you're out in the mountains and you have some glacier-fed river, there's a good chance just filtering the water will be enough, but urban city environments, suburban environments, there's going to be gasoline runoff from the road. Every time there's a car accident, the fire crews and stuff that clean it up, they're just going to spray the road down, and all of that's going to get down into the water system. So unless you're drinking tap water and you actually have to filter water, my best advice is that you also purify the water as well. Which is why in here I have these. These are Aquatabs water purification tablets. So I double treat all my water anyways. So even if I'm in the mountains, I'm going to do the same process for my water every time. So I'm going to fill a bottle with dirty water. And that's what this is for. This is to tell me what dirty water I'm hiking around once I've drinking this. And I'm going to fill it with dirty water. I am going to filter the dirty water into my clean water bottle. And then I'm going to take 1 of these little tablets. I'm going to throw it in here. And over 30 minutes, it's going to purify that water. Now, these tablets, while it will provide you clean, pure water, it's going to leave a little bit of a bad, like, pool water taste, which is where the Liquid IV comes in. Another reason that I may choose to fill this with dirty water rather than just filter water at my water source wherever I'm at is everybody needs water. And if you're in a disaster scenario, everybody is going to be going to the water. That includes probably some very good people and probably some very bad people. So just to keep myself from being a sitting duck when I'm getting water, I like the idea of I can go and scoop a liter of water, get away from the water, find a safe place, and that's where I'll do my filtering and my purification. So general rule, filters will take care of bacteria, purifiers will take care of viruses. Aquatabs are like $10 on Amazon for 30 tablets. So $10 for 30 liters of clean water is not a bad deal. Additionally, in here, I just have some travel Tylenol in case I do get headaches, backaches. If I'm having to walk 30 miles, I go hiking, but I'm not like conditioned for a straight 30-mile go about. I'm going to be hurting, so a little bit of Tylenol will probably come in handy. Additionally, in the back here, this is just a Camelback 2 liter. Yeah, 2 liter hydration bag that has a straw running out to my shoulder. I can just drink water as I go. Hopefully, I can fill this up with the water bottles I have in the back of my truck before I have to dip into any of this. And that's just a little bit of water to help me on my way. Water weighs a lot and it can be a lot to pack around, but I've found on hikes where I don't have a bunch of water out and about to collect and purify, I find myself missing water when I don't have it more than I find myself hating the weight of lugging it around when I have more than I need. So I like to pack a little bit of extra water. In the front lid of this backpack, we have 2 more pouches. This is my fire pouch, and this is my tool pouch. So let's get into my fire pouch. The first thing I have in here is 2 rolls of toilet paper stuffed with dryer lint. This is going to be my fire starter. So if I'm going to build a fire, I'm going to throw this at the very base in between all the little like twigs and sticks I'm throwing on there. I'm going to light the dryer lint on fire, which is going to light the toilet paper roll on fire, which is going to light all the smaller sticks and twigs on fire. This is not the best fire starter in the world. It is not the fastest fire starter in the world, but in my opinion, this is the cheapest and freest fire starter that you can get. Dryer lint and toilet paper rolls most likely is just a byproduct of your regular life as you use the bathroom and do the laundry. So it's basically a free fire starter. I've never been the guy who pays for any fancy fire starting like chemical soaked whatever. I just do this and it gets the job done. I also have 2 packs of stormproof matches. I have a Bic lighter, and I have flint and steel. Now, this flint and steel is more of just a fun thing. This bag goes with me every time I go camping, and I like playing with flint and steel. I see a lot of survival videos on YouTube where people will have their flint and steel or their fire striker or their ferro rod, the things that will last forever but are very hard to start a fire with, that will be their primary fire source. Now, it is my personal opinion that if you're in an emergency situation, this bag is for emergency situations, you want to try and make survival as easy as possible. Before I ever touch these, I will have gone through all of my matches and all the gas in my lighter, because this is just harder to use. This is really only in here because I like to play with it and I take this camping, but this will last longer than the matches. It will last longer than the Bic lighter, but it is not my primary fire source. There's nothing wrong with getting ferro rods and getting flint and steel, but just something to think about. There is no shame in finding the easiest way to start a fire and relying on that in a survival situation. These are really good for extended survival if you're going to try and go weeks, months, things like that. But if you're just looking at a couple days, which 99% of emergencies, you only need a couple of days, go with the easy stuff. That's my opinion. Not a survival expert. It's just where I'm at. Okay, in my tool bag, I have paracord. This is paracord bracelet I got as a gift from somewhere. I'm not really the guy who rolls around with a paracord bracelet on him all the time. If that is your speed of preparedness, no problem with that. I just found pretty quickly that this wasn't my speed, but a little extra paracord doesn't hurt. I think this is like 15-20 feet of paracord. Paracord's like duct tape. You can use it to build stuff. You can use it to fix stuff. It's good to have around. Okay, got a compass. I live in Utah. The mountains are usually pretty easy to navigate around, but there's been a couple times where I've been out on longer hikes and a compass is nice to have. Additionally, I have a camp saw. So if I am out in the woods, out in the wilderness, and I need to cut things down to start a fire with, if I need to cut things down to build a shelter with, having a camp saw is very nice. This is probably one I'm going to want to upgrade pretty soon. This is just a Walmart brand off the shelf. It gets the job done. It does require a good amount of labor, but I have been very thankful to have this because it has genuinely helped me. And just going back to the whole point of my channel, there's nothing wrong with getting cheaper tools that get the job done and upgrading later. If the cheaper tools are all that you ever have, it's still going to get the job done and it's still going to keep you alive in an emergency preparedness scenario. There are definitely tools out there that are too cheap and will break on you. That's not what I'm advocating for. But you don't need the $200, $300 pocket knife when a $10 Walmart pocket knife will do the job. If you carry those expensive knives, they will do the job a lot better than the Walmart knife. But the Walmart knife will still keep you alive. Speaking of the Walmart knife, this is bad timing because I actually bought this from Cabela's. This is just a little pocket knife to keep on me. So if I have to ditch my car, if I don't have a pocket knife on me already, I'll just grab this out, throw it on my person, and get moving. The fixed blade is very, very nice, but it is nice to have just a small, easy-to-use blade if you need to cut paracord, do something easy, open a box, open something. Small pocket knives, just nice to have on you. This is just a spoon fork combo for eating my MREs. I got this in some sort of gift pack as well, and let's see if we can show it in the white background. But it has all of these little survival tools inside it. I have no clue how to use any of these, nor do I think this is tough enough to actually use for survival. This is just what I eat with. It's just a spoon and a fork. I got it in some sort of like Temu 20-in-1 whatever, but it's good to eat with. I like it. I have a pair of nitrile work gloves. They come in handy a lot more often than you think, especially if you're out bushcrafting in the wilderness. But let's say you're on your way home and you need just a place to get off the road for a second, rest your feet, whatever. Chances are in a disaster situation, there's going to be broken glass everywhere. There's going to be a lot of sharp, rusty pokies. Having a pair of like good work gloves is not a bad idea at all. And the last two things in my tool bag are actually not things I keep in my bug out bag / get home bag. I'm cheating a little bit. These go in the front of my truck where I have my bag in the back of my truck. But this is a Leatherman Sidekick. It is the cheapest multi-tool that Leatherman makes. And I love this thing. I used to keep it in this bag, but I found that I use it so much that I didn't want to dig into the bag every time I got it. So while I'm grabbing my bug out bag from the back of my car or my get home bag, I'm also going to get into my center console and grab this. So same purpose, same situation. I just keep it in a different spot. Same thing with this. You've seen this flashlight if you've seen my video on my off-grid solar power bank. But this is a Walmart Ozark Trail rechargeable flashlight. It charges by micro USB, and I just keep it in the front cup holder of my truck, and it is just charging as I'm driving around. That way when I need it, it's there. So I like having a headlamp and a flashlight when I'm out and about. Just a little nitpicky on what situations I use what with. And I like having a secondary light source if things go bad. Okay, last thing we're going to talk about before we go into my college bag is I do have one more thing on here. And that's my IFAK. So IFAK stands for Individual First Aid Kit. And I have it mollied on the side of this bag. But one thing you'll notice is I have it mollied very loose. It's very shaky on here. And that's for a reason. When I first put this IFAK on my bag, there was a day when me and my wife, we were driving home from the gym, and we rolled up on a car crash where a car had T-boned another car in the intersection, and no cops had shown up yet, no medical personnel had showed up yet, and I have attended Stop the Bleed classes to know how to use everything in this bag. I am by no means a professional, but I was like, somebody could be hurt, and maybe I can just stop somebody from bleeding out until, the ambulance can show up and take over. So I have this mollied on super tight. I run to grab it, and I try to get it off, and it's mollied on there really good. And I probably spend 30 to 45 seconds just untangling this thing from the side of my backpack to go and help people out. Luckily enough, nobody was seriously injured, and it was really just helping pull somebody out of a car that, like, the door was jammed or whatever. But if it was a serious situation and somebody was seriously hurting, that 30 to 45 seconds, which felt like forever, could have really hurt somebody's chances of survival. So now I have it mollied on there really loose, so I can just rip it and go. So once again, I am by no means a stop the bleed instructor. I am by no means a survival instructor. I'm a nerd on the internet who likes sharing my hobby. But here's what I keep in my IFAK. Side note, this pouch you need to buy separately, but everything in this IFAK you can buy for $60 on Amazon. It's a North American Rescue IFAK refill kit. And if you just watch videos or attend a class to know how to use everything in this bag, you will be able to help out in most serious injuries. So, looking into this bag, we have a cat's tourniquet. It is my opinion that if you have no first aid knowledge, if you have no gear, this should be the first thing you should learn how to buy and use. IFAKs can be, or tourniquets can be about 20 bucks. You can learn how to use them in a 5-minute YouTube video. But the entire purpose of this is to go on to any limb that is bleeding out and stop the bleed. And these are attributed with saving hundreds of lives. More than hundreds, but one of the most common injuries in car crashes, shootings, anything like that is limb injuries that cause major bleeding, and people can bleed out very quick. So just knowing how to use one of these, you will be more prepared than most people on the street. Next, I have nitrile gloves. If I have to bandage somebody or if I have to stop bleeding and I don't have gloves, I'm just praying they don't have hepatitis. That would be a bad day. So I like having gloves. I work with my hands a lot, and so I always have little cuts all over my hands. Good to have gloves. Keep their blood out of my blood. This is just compressed gauze, so if there is any stab or hole injury, anything like that, I can stuff the wound, stop bleeding. This is a twin pair of chest seals. So, I'm not a survival instructor. My rough understanding is that your chest cavity works like a vacuum. So your lungs are like a balloon that expand and close. If that vacuum gets punctured and air gets in there, even if your lungs aren't pierced, your lungs start to stop working. So this is really, really sticky tape that you just cover that hole with, and it restores that vacuum and allows you to start breathing again. All of these tools are less on how to completely fix somebody, and this is more of how can I just keep this person alive until an ambulance rolls up. How can I keep myself alive, my family alive, until an ambulance rolls up? Last thing, this is just a trauma dressing. It's a compression bandage. And that's after you stuff a wound with gauze or something, it's just going to hold a bunch of pressure on there so that you don't have to keep all of that bandaging in there until medical arrives. Once again, none of this is top of the line stuff. It doesn't have to be, but I am very confident that I could get through 48 hours, 72 hours if I had to, with just this stuff. So I'm going to pack all of this away for a second, and then I'm going to grab what I had in college, and I'm going to show you guys where I started. There's nothing wrong with starting small and building up as you go. And that is probably how you should get into this hobby, or how you should get into what I think is a common sense lifestyle of emergency preparedness, where you're not stressing about it, you're just starting small and over time upgrading things. So I'll be right back and you'll see me in a second. Hey guys, I lied to you. I actually want to go on a quick tangent before we get into my college backpack. If you are the kind of person where the idea of an assault pack appeals to you, an assault pack is not a bug out bag, it's not a get home bag. It serves a very similar mission, but the idea is now you have a very set objective that you have to do in an environment where you know you are likely to get attacked or come across a group of people who actively want to harm you. Now, there is not a ton of situations outside of straight up your country is getting invaded where this would come into play. But let's say society collapses and you need to go check on grandma, and you know there's some sort of Fallout video game style raider faction that you're going to have to try and get past to go check on grandma or to go check on your buddy, something like that. The idea of an assault pack is going to be appealing. If that is the case, what I would do in this situation is I would take this. This is a bandolier filled with 6 rifle mags for my AR. That way when I am wearing my kit, my plate carrier, my battle belt, which up to this point in my life I have only ever used role-playing and LARPing on the flat range, pretending I'm a soldier shooting at targets. No combat experience, not claiming anything. That being said, if you find an objective that you truly feel is worth putting your life on the line, you're going to want some extra ammo. At which point, all of this stuff will do for a short 24, 48 hour mission, especially if it's in a situation where you can go out, check on something, come home, and still have a safe place to sleep at night. I would just move the MREs I have in here to the front. I've done it a couple times, it will fit. And I will put this in the main compartment of my bag. That way, worst comes to worst, and I actually need to reload the magazines I keep on my person. I can take my spent magazines, put them in the backpack, and I can take these and put them on my kit. So, wanted to go into that real quick. The main purpose of this bag is to be a bug out bag and a get home bag. If things get very, very bad, you can still shift focus with this bag. Okay, now to the college bag. So, this is what I carried in college. None of this stuff is top of the line. Like I said, most of this stuff was bought at Walmart. And as a broke college student who was on the verge of flunking college and becoming a blue-collar worker, spoiler alert, that's what happened. When I was still working 2 part-time jobs and going to college full-time and trying to make it work, this is what I could afford, and this is what I got. The bag itself is some hiking day bag that I bought from a backpacking shop outside of Moab. Don't know how much it cost. I'm sure it wasn't expensive. So let's just jump into it. So in this frontmost pocket, we have hot hands. We've gone over these. 2 single packs of dude wipes. Gone over this. Work gloves. This is another cheap Walmart headlamp. Then in this pocket, we have extra batteries for the headlamp, a single glow stick, kitchen matches for my fire starter, a big lighter to start a fire with. We have another, I'm talking about Walmart knives, but this is also a Cabela's knife. This was from the $5 bin at Cabela's. This is a backup fire striker. We have a Mossy Oak multi-tool that I bought from Walmart. If you can't afford a Leatherman, it is okay to get a cheap Walmart Cabela's multi-tool. There is no issue with having cheaper gear as long as it does the job. And then this was my medical. This is a RATS tourniquet. So it is, from my understanding in the medical world, a little less effective than the CATS tourniquet, but you basically just wrap it tight around a limb that's bleeding out. It's going to stop the bleeding. If you are a big beefy dude with big beefy legs, this will struggle to cut off circulation in your legs. Just something to be aware of if you're a big guy. What is nice about these that doesn't work with a CATS tourniquet is these are great for children or dogs. The CATS tourniquet, other major tourniquet companies, they're usually made for soldiers, police officers, people who are expected to experience gunfire. There's not very many tourniquets made or designed to work on children. So if you're a parent and you're getting into that medical world, these aren't bad to keep on hand in case your little kid gets hurt. Good thing to have on you. Okay, getting into our main compartment, we have a Ruger LCP. If you've seen my concealed carry video, you've seen this pistol. It is very small. Bought it for 150 bucks, 200 bucks at a pawn shop. I didn't start carrying this until after college, but this bag lasted with me until after college. So it did get added to this bag as just a small defensive weapon to get me out of like 24 hours. Once again, this is my starting point. So this is how do I survive 24 hours. Okay, we have more toilet paper rolls filled with dryer lint. This is an emergency reflective poncho. So this is one of those Mylar emergency blankets that is also mixed with one of those plastic rain ponchos. This is a little bit of a compromise because it's trying to do both, which means it's not really great at either, but it's what I could afford. In fact, I'm pretty sure I pulled this out of my parents' garage. I don't even know if I bought this. And then this was my water filter at the time. This is a LifeStraw water bottle. And this is just a replacement filter for the water bottle. Something to note if you have a LifeStraw water bottle is these filters can dry out after you use them. So if you go to LifeStraw's website, they actually will teach you how to make like a saltwater solution that will keep the filter clean and keep it wet. Now, this is what I did in college, but something I wanted to point out is if I had to redo this, I actually would have gone about my water situation differently. So give me 1 second. So this is the Sawyer Squeeze water filter system. What I really like about these Sawyer filters is they will fit on the top of water bottles. They'll just screw on like a water bottle lid. So you can collect water in water bottles, but very specifically with a LifeStraw, you can't purify that water. That is strictly a filter, and there is no way without drinking it to get water from in here out, unless you want to like drink and spit or something. But these Sawyer filters, they come with a squeeze pouch. So you fill the squeeze pouch with water, you screw the filter on the top, and then you can squeeze water into whatever you want. And then let's say you squeeze the water onto a water bottle, you get your $10 Aqua tabs, you throw it in there, you can double filter your water even if you wanted. So that's what I would have done if I would have done things differently, but that the LifeStraw is what I did in college. Nothing wrong with either choice. I am just a big fan of double treating my water versus single treating, which is what LifeStraw is. So no hate if you're a LifeStraw guy. Got a Mossy Oak sheath knife. Once again, Walmart brand. I've taken it camping a couple times. No real complaints. There is nothing wrong with affordable gear. Okay, and last but not least, this is a camping hammock. Actually, I do have one more pouch to show you guys. This is a camping hammock. Not going to keep me very warm, but if I need to, it's a place to sleep. And then the last pouch is my sustainment. So I have an off-brand hydration pouch in here. This one also goes up to 2 liters, and nothing wrong with it. I like hydration pouches. There's some people in the survival space who don't like them because they can pop if you lie on your backpack, use your backpack like a stool, something like that. But if you're a little more ginger with your backpack, then there's no issue with them. I prefer them. Nothing wrong with the people who don't. Last but not least, I got food down here. You can really tell I was a college student because we got Pop-Tarts. We got 2 Rice Krispie treats, Gushers, and 3 granola bars. All sugar, no protein, baby. That will keep me full for a whole 30 minutes. But it's just a little bit of calories. When I started, my goal was, can I buy myself 24 hours to get home from college? And I can tell you that while it wouldn't be the most comfortable day of my life, I feel very confident that I could get through 24 hours with what was in this bag. So, once again, just start somewhere. I don't care if you start with a fanny pack with a couple of tools. Find a way to start. Focus on grabbing 24 hours worth of just cheaper, affordable gear, and then upgrade from there. This is how I started. It got me to my other bag where I'm at today. If I continue to upgrade things only when I can afford it, only when it doesn't financially hurt me, in 5 years, we'll see where I'm at. Survival and emergency preparedness should not be about panicking over the next disaster that's around the corner. It should be taking comfort in the fact that every day you're a little bit more prepared for disasters than the day before. That's all I have for you guys today. Please like, share, subscribe. This is just a hobby of mine, but it does help the channel a lot. Once again, I've gone to survival courses, first aid courses, whatever, but I am by no means an expert. I'm by no means a, what's it called? It is not my job to teach this stuff. I'm just a nerd sharing my hobby. So that's all I have for you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.